there are certain principles outlined in the fourth way path by Gurdjieff and Uspensky that are not very popular, and especially in our now day and age where it's a lot of seeking of pleasure and comfort and minimum effort and this culture of checking out and indulging in everything. So those principles that are important in order to ramp up the intensity of consciousness work, conscious labor, for the purposes of awakening. So those principles are do what it does not want to do. Do what it does not want to do, which refers to the instinctive center or the bodily self is not interested actually in awakening or transcendence or looking at our shadows and all of that. And it's the instinctive center bodily self is interested in comfort, relaxation, conserving energy, survival, and pleasure. And in order to really be more effective and to make progress, to use the time well while we are alive, it is important to find ways to override the tendency of the instinctive center bodily self. The same principle of do what it does not want to do, this is also for the purposes of the work, yeah? It's not for the purposes of BDSM or torture or stuff like that. But this principle basically will create this internal friction or the battle between yes and no within ourselves. And as Gurdjieff would say, when there's no friction, there's no fire. And so the bodily self will want to do its habit and then having this aim of going against it, they will create this internal friction which will give more energy for self-remembering. Another principle in the fourth way, as well as in many other serious spiritual traditions, is this idea of intentional voluntary suffering, which can take many forms. One general form is like whenever there is actual suffering in our life, inadvertently life brings suffering, friction, difficulty, to own it, to not complain, to not fight against it, to own it, to assume it, and to use it for the work. Yeah, use that internal friction to bring more self-remembering to it, and thus transform that adversity. At the same time, there's this principle of voluntary suffering, meaning that one intentionally creates a certain type of discomfort, a small discomfort, by going against a habit or depriving our bodily self from a certain pleasure or a certain kind of way in which the bodily self wants to avoid making effort. And again, all of these are for the work, yeah? They are not in order to atone, in order to beat ourselves up, in order to... So this conscious labor and intentional suffering for the purposes of self-remembering are very important principles in the fourth way, without which our work will very likely be lukewarm and our results would be lukewarm. So from this point of view, I'm starting myself, as well as the people in my group, an intensive practice period with the aim of ramping up the intensity of the work. This is just for 21 days period. Even if you're not in my groups, and if you resonate with it, feel free to do it. So, so the exercise will be 21 days, actually starting from July 1st, Monday. It's a good beginning, to have these following exercises. which have a certain kind of minor ascetic element or minor renunciation. This element of the spiritual principle as well, very important on the path, is some kind of sacrificing for the self, for the work, for God. One of the Zen masters would say that in order to live in the realm of Buddha nature, you must die as a small being, moment after moment. All right, so let's cut to the chase. The exercise is for 21 days starting from July 1st to have a 30-minute meditation practice every day. Meditation for me, it's just allocating, just sitting time for self-remembering practice. A variation could be to have a walking meditation, walking self-remembering practice, although it is good to sit there and kind of be faced with the internal world and witness and not go along every thought and feeling and be one with the present moment. So 30-minute meditation every day. At the level of the instinctive center, we are going to engage in a certain cleanse, which will surely have very good effects for the body, and it will have, bring our energy to be more balanced, more sattvic. This is a common principle in many spiritual traditions, a certain type of fasting or cleanse, and the suggested exercise emulates that, although it's adapted for our modern world. And so for 21 days to have to eat only a whole food diet, therefore to let go of any processed foods, processed meats, cookies, sugars, chips, stuff like that, and to have just food from the earth that is fine to cook. So no sugar, no processed other stuff. At the same time, in addition to this, no substances for 3 weeks, in which I would include tobacco, marijuana, alcohol, kratom, kava, any mind-altering substances or stimulants, this kind of thing that we go for our dopamine hit. And so that's the exercise. I'm going to do it myself. You don't have to do it. Feel free to come to the group and continue working together. But I suggest to do that and see what happens. This will, what will happen is that we usually use all of these things, substances and cookies and various other stuff like that, sugars, pasta. We use this in order to avoid or buffer, as they say in the fourth way, avoid certain unpleasant emotional state, loneliness, unworthiness, overwhelm, stress, anxiety, this or that. And we are going to get this hit of pleasure. And then we're getting hooked into it, and then it develops this habit. So if you are engaging in this 21 days, basically it will be a little challenging for you. I'm going to do it myself. I'm kind of using various substances here and there, and so basically it will be an opportunity to really see this mechanism of trying to avoid the sense of lack, to trying to avoid the sense that something is missing, to trying to avoid unpleasant emotional states. So our material will be much more on top, and the idea is to do this in order to now have to remember ourselves more, to witness, to really allow these feelings, allow these states while being deeply present and being the witness of it and not avoiding them anymore. And So there will be much more material on top that usually is pressed down with all of these other substances and foods. It will be an opportunity to, as they say in the fourth way, to develop real will. And real will is not conscious will, is not just to do whatever you want to do, but to be able to not do whenever some part of you wants to do something. Yeah, for the purposes of awakening. That's an opportunity to go against the machine, the instinctive center. And as I said before, in order to really go deep with the work, one needs to be able to override this. And otherwise we are enslaved to all of these impulses and small eyes. Now, I know that some of you, some of the people I work with, they already have a very clean diet. They are eating like that naturally every day, and some of you, they have no substance habits, or yeah. So for you, there will be nothing, no problem. And maybe even you have a meditation practice every day. Well, in such cases, you can update this intensive, because you surely have something else. So you probably get dopamine hit or avoid certain emotional states through Netflix, or watching movies, or scrolling on Instagram, or scrolling on Facebook, or scrolling on YouTube mindlessly. So if you are one of those people that your diet is already whole food diet and you have no substance issue in any way, and you don't use them naturally, I recommend you can improvise and adapt for that. See what is that for you. Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing this and starting this July 1st. And whole food diet. And there's a little treat here for us. Coffee is fine. Of course, not having many coffees all day, every day, but coffee in the morning is fine. Can put some honey in the coffee, but no sugar, no processed stuff, no bread. So whole food diet, no substances, and 30-minute self-remembering meditation every day, or walking. Don't fool yourself, kind of walking and just being checked out. So if you do the walking, really do 30-minute walking meditation. All right, well, good luck, and see you on the other side.